Boy, these people be playing. So this right here is showing a drawing in a book it's supposed to be in the 1500s, but the book is actually later. As I get in close, you see that the Indians are pouring something into the mouth of the Spaniard. They're really pouring hot molten gold into his mouth. Funny, so are these people. They're pouring hot molten gold into the Spaniard's mouth. But which one is correct? Well, this one here is a painting that I got from the Gilcrease Museum, which is not a government website, but it's definitely an official museum. And you have this listed here within this museum. Now, I've seen this before. I know We Know the Truth Now showed it, but I think I've seen it on YouTube prior to him once or twice. And I didn't really save it, but I knew about it. So when I came across this version, I knew that this was some BS. Now, this book, that's some BS, was in the Library of Congress, The New Laws of the Indies for the Good Treatment and the Preservation of the Indians. And when I was looking at the cover, I was like, I don't really know about this book. But I was like, let me give it a chance. Let me see what's inside real quick, a quick skim. Skimming through, I noticed that this wasn't an original copy. It says this is the facsimile reprint of the original Spanish edition. Now, typically to be a facsimile, you need to be an exact copy and reprint, but they could lie and say this is an exact reprint. Now, technically all the words in here could be reprinted, but if the if the drawings are altered, how do you know the words aren't altered? So when I look up about this one says that it was created and published in London in 1893. But this painting in the Gilcrease Museum, we're going to zoom in right here, shows to be done between the 1500s and the 1600s, almost 200 to 300 years prior to when that book came out. What does that tell me? That tells me that this is the original first version where they're heavily melanated, black looking type Indians pouring gold in a YT Spaniards looking mouth with hoop earrings, things of that nature, right? Compared to the demelanated versions. Now, some people, because you can say this skin tone is the same as the Spaniard skin tone. And some people may say, well, maybe they didn't have the ability to distinguish that back then, which I would say is a lie, because here's a version of a Spanish book done in the 1600s, which shows that they could easily melanate the people. They later turned it into some asinine shit like this on the reprints, whitewashing it. Even some absurdities like this and some crazy ones like this. But even in other books, you can see the darkly melanated person compared to the Spaniard that's non-melanated. So they knew how to do it in a book. Okay, so we can't take that. They just couldn't do it as the option. They could do it, but they chose not to and put this particular copy out there as the truth because they say it's a facsimile reproduction, meaning an exact copy. So yeah, this is the original. The other one is the fake. But they do it all the time. This is the Miwok Indians of California, de California, inhabitants de la Californie. It's from a French explorer named Louis Cours. This came out in 1822. Later on, they put this one out in like 1913, called the book The 100 Years of California or something like that, or San Francisco, 100 Years of San Francisco, something history or something like that. But long story short, it was the YT version. You have these California Indians, but they look like this in the book. So I can even show you where they use real pictures, but they utilize purposely the alternative pictures with like messed up shading and messed up lighting, even with the same person. So this is Billy Bowlegs III in 1895. The picture shows his heavy melanation. Now, this is a photograph of him in his older years where you can still see the heavy melanation and everything that encompasses what he looks like. But on the Seminole website, they list this picture as Billy Bowlegs. Now that is him. That's why I showed you the old version of him. But notice how this picture looks like a very old Polaroid, as if they didn't have decent, good digital photography by then, which I just showed you a photograph of him in this same age being very much so melanated and not looking like almost a lighter brown than what his dark melanation was. But then this almost makes him look like an East Indian, doesn't it? And he's got the little whatever, most of the rest of his body is covered up, so you really can't tell. And the photograph is all yellowed out. Now, I deal with photography, videography, color grading. You can pull that yellow out. In current times, unless somebody took that with a Polaroid, you can pull that yellow out. You can correct this photograph. So the fact that they have it on here shows that they're trying to whitewash it in a way. And that's what they typically do. You'll go from full melanation to a partial melanation. We're just going to remove the color. It's still a little shaded, but let you guess, to looking like this. And you may say, hey, Sam, there's nothing wrong with this one right here. Just because they took all the color and then they removed the shading and they made it look like a second grader did it, that's not a problem. Well, you can think that all you want, but this is a YouTube video of me looking at a walkthrough of the Miwok Indian Museum. And when I was looking at it, notice what I noticed and took a quick screenshot right there. Do you see that black and white photo? Or drawing, I should say? Well, this is the real one. Now, how come I can find it, but the person who's over the Miwok Indian Museum, who should be an historian and whatever, or part of the tribe or whatever, they couldn't find it? I actually saw this first before I ever saw the other ones, to be honest. I found this book first. So if they're using the official propaganda in the museum and ignoring the real copies, then you know they playing.